Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean. This is the Game Room, and we are continuing with Dead Man's Hand. We've unboxed, we built some models. We built an Outlaw gang, we built a Lawman gang. In the last video, we painted this guy, and now we're going to paint the Outlaw boss. And let me show you what she looks like. Here she is. She just looked like a boss to me, so I made her the Outlaw gang boss. For her, we're only using a handful of colors again. Occultist cloak, peachy flesh, satchel brown, polished silver, warrior skin, maize yellow, and then again we'll use desert yellow and soft tone on the base. Limited color scheme here. They're all speed paints, and again, if you're just joining us for the first time, I go for speed and 3-foot tabletop distance. What that means is, does it look good on the table when you're standing over it? If you're standing up at a table playing the game, you're about 3 feet away from your models on average, and do they look good? And that's what I go for when I paint. You can do more details if you'd like. You do you, and you do what makes you happy. I go for speed, and I want to get stuff on the table because I really like this game and I want to play it as soon as possible. But I do want to play with painted models. So videos are really geared more towards the beginner, if you're new to painting, or if you are looking for a way to paint fast and you just want some ideas. Hopefully these videos will help you. Without further ado, let me shut up and let's get started. For her dress, since she's the boss, I'm going to go all dark with Occultist cloak, speed paint 2.0. Why? Just because I like the color, because it's dark, and it kind of feels like, since she's the boss, you can kind of tell a story if she's all black, or all their dress is all black. Maybe she's still in mourning because her husband died and that's why she turned outlaw. Maybe she just likes it because it's intimidating. Maybe it's the only color fabric she can get a hold of. Don't know. You can make up the story as you wish, but let's get started. The Occultist cloak is not a black. It's almost like a dark gray, maybe, or maybe maybe it is a black. It's kind of a gray, dark grayish black. Anyway, it's not the straight flat black that you would use for other things. Anyway, let's get this lady painted. Now, I've tried to, in these videos, I try to tell you what I'm doing, kind of show you what I'm doing, and then may speed it up. So if all of a sudden it looks like I'm moving it 2 or 3 times the normal speed, that's because I've sped the video up so that you don't have to. Try to keep the videos as short as possible. Most of the time they go about 25-30 minutes. It usually is just me yapping. But I do try to explain what I'm doing, and hopefully it helps. And if you're doing it with me, follow along, then you should be doing it roughly about the same pace once you get used to it. But do not hesitate to pause the video so that you can get caught up, or rewind, see if there was something that I said or did that you missed. Okay, next up is Peachy Flesh speed paint for her skin. Now, the skin we want to make sure that we get is her face and her hands. Those are really the only exposed areas. Be careful not to touch your Occultist cloak. You'll notice I did not paint her sleeves black. As I was painting her, I just got the idea of maybe doing those in white would look good. Give the Occultist cloak a contrast rather than being totally dark. I just thought it might look cool. So we'll try it, and if it sucks, well, then we'll just go back over it. Because we can do that. Alright. There we go. Be right back. Alright, next up is Satchel Brown for her holster and belt. Alright. I'm also going to use the Satchel Brown for the hilt of her gun. So let me get that real quick. And then the rest of that gun will be silver. So we'll get that in just a second. Make sure we have all the little crevices done. Okay. Alright, our next color is going to be Warrior Skin. And Warrior Skin we're going to use for her boots. Again, just to contrast the black, or the dark gray or black or whatever a cultist cloak is. Alright, very simple, very straightforward. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to use that same color, same warrior skin for her hat. Looks like it'll look like her hat and her boots both match. Alright, the white for her sleeves, I'm going to use mummy robes. It's not the bright white, but it's a slight off-white, not really an ivory, but more like mummy robes, if that makes any sense at all. Not going to lead a whole lot, but this is just a standard Army Painter paint. Not a contrast, so just be very careful with it. And we will have to come back and give this a wash so that we can give it the little depth and texture that we want it to have. Okay. Alright, maize yellow speed paint for her hair. Alright, very quick, very easy. Alright, polished silver. This is going to go on the gun and on her belt. So I'll do the gun, pretty straightforward. Just get all of your metal parts. Now I am going to switch over to a smaller brush. If you watched the last video, I tend to use one brush for a lot of things. And I tend to use them until they become so frayed that I use them for other things. But I have been using a Ghost 1. This is from the Ghost range, and then the Ghost Tiny A is the one I'm going to use next. Same thing with that silver, but I want to do the rim of her belt buckle and tops and bottoms of the bullets, just like that, just to give it a little contrast to the rest of the dark. Alright, okay, for washing the sleeves that we did in Mummy Rose, I'm going to use a soft tone, and it's watered down about 5 or 6 to 1 until it becomes the consistency or the color of a very, very weak tea. Why? Because I don't want to change the color. I just want to break up the white and give it a little depth. And this will sit in the recesses, but still leave the sleeves relatively white. And this is going to take a little while to dry because it's mostly just water. But it'll be just enough color to basically shade that white and give that white a little bit of definition. Okay. Anyway, be right back. Okay, while that's drying, Desert Yellow is the color we're using for the base. And as we talked about in the last one, I do go ahead and paint the whole base. So I'm going to get the rim. All of my Outlaws are going to have a Desert Yellow rimmed base. My lawmen will have a different color. It makes it easier to tell them apart on the battleground or in the town. I haven't decided what I'm going to name my town yet, but I'm thinking about it. What are you naming your town? If you're building Dead Man's Hand, if you're putting stuff together, you're going to have a little town. Dead Man's Hand is a good name for town. Tombstone, kind of taken. Dodge City, kind of taken. What are you going to name your town? I'm still trying to figure out what I want to name mine. I also need to come up with names for all of my outlaws and lawmen too, just because. At least the boss. The boss and the higher ones, your thugs and stuff, they're gonna die. They're gonna die. Don't get too attached. But if you're playing through a campaign, you're gonna want to give your models names. You're gonna grow to love them, and then when they do die, you're gonna want to cry. It's just, that's the nature of campaigns. Campaigns are a blast. But you're just going to paint the whole base, whatever your base color is. I'm going to cover this with sand, and then we're going to wash it, so you can kind of get an idea of that's what we're going to do. That sand will start like this color, but that's a little too bright for what I want, so we're going to do that, and I will show you how we do that here in a moment. But for right now, with that color, I mean, if you didn't want to do the base or anything, she's done, guys. She's basically finished. You can see that the sleeves, it has just a little bit of a definition, just to offset the bright white. If you want to have a higher definition, don't water down your soft tone as much. I just want to give it the hint of, hey, that's white and there's some shadows on those sleeves. It may be hard to see on the video, but they're there. But you can see it's not hard, and it doesn't take a long time. We're 16 minutes into this video, so I mean, whole paint time took what, 15, 14 minutes to get her painted, and even the base painted. And I'm going to do more to the base because I want to cover all that up. But I mean, guys, it doesn't take a ton to get these guys done. 3-foot tabletop distance, and you'll see that when we do the how to play video. I'll have the camera set up to where it's 3 feet away, so you can actually kind of see, hey, you know, the models look really cool from a distance. If somebody's going to pick them up and stare at them, yeah, they're going to see that, well, yeah, they're not highly detailed, but who cares, unless that's what you want. If you want to go for the high detail, please do. fantastic. There's some great painters out there. Some of you guys are really good painters. I go for speed. I go for 3-foot tabletop distance, like I said, and this is how I do it. So hopefully this has been helping, and you're getting something from this. So a lot of it's for new painters or people who just want to get something done fast. I was like, oh man, I've got all this gray, I can't paint. It's really not. It's not super difficult. Just take some colors, kind of figure out what you want to do. And contrast and speed paints, I can't talk about them enough. I'm using all speed paints here, except for, like I said, except for these two, Mummy Robes and Desert Yellow. But it's only because I don't have the whole speed paint 2.0 range. I have just a few. I got one of the smaller sets. I'd really like to get the big set to get all of them, but just I don't have it yet. But I am going to do the base now, and the way I do the basing on them is, like I said, you've got your sand and gravel mixed in here. You can use sand, comes from the playground. This was actually ballast from War Game Scenics or something like that. That's like used for trains. I just mixed it together because I liked it because it's got it's got sand and it's got rock in it, so I liked that. I use toothpicks and super glue. PVA glue probably work better for some. I am totally impatient. So I use super glue and put a big glob on each side, and then we're going to use our toothpick to spread it around. And you do want to make sure you get it everywhere, especially up under the model, but don't get it all over their feet. Otherwise you're going to glue sand and gravel to their feet, unless that's what you want. But that's all I'm doing. I'm just smearing this around, making sure I get the whole base. If you're wondering what I'm using for what she's glued to or stuck on, the base, it's a bottle cap. You don't need fancy. I mean, they make some great, model holders, and I even have the Citadel one that's expandable. And but if you don't want to spend the money on that, I use a little piece of cork to give it some distance of corkboard, bottle cap off of any 20-ounce bottle, and the magic of glue dots. I bought a huge box of glue dots for this very purpose. And you stick them on the base, put a glue dot on there, and then they will hold pretty well. The metal models, if they're like bigger, larger, heavier models, you might struggle a little bit. But for these guys, especially these plastic models, it works great. Okay. Our super glue is on. If you have a big enough bucket, you can just dip the model in there. I don't, so I'm going to sprinkle. And by sprinkle, I mean dump. And I know I got super glue up under there, but for some reason, problem with the dust when you dip it on there, light dust will coat first, and then will make your glue not stick to the heavier stuff. I really need to just get a bigger bucket. Okay, we have some errors that need to be dealt with. If you look down at her feet. Alright, so we're going to take a little bit more super glue, and now we're going to be a little more precise and get those covered. Right there. Again, I don't want to get it on her boots, but I do want it under here. I did touch her, so make sure I get that off. Alright, and let's go back to it. Okay, like I said, I did accidentally touch her with it, so before the glue really gets a chance to set, you can go off and just get it off over like so. Alright, there we go. Give that a second to, it's still there, but I'm going to cover it up with something else here in just a second so you won't see it. Alright, now to do the, if you watched the last video, you already know how to do this, but this is how in order to give the sand a little more definition, I'm going to use what I already had. This was about 5 to 1. I'm going to add a few more drops of the soft tone to it. I go about 50-50 water and soft tone. If you think it's too dark, feel free to add a little bit more water. I do want it to look like sand. I really want it to be a little darker sand. Like I said, I think it's a little too bright for me, but in this we're just going to dab all over. And this will take some time to dry. Now you could always go back over this later once it's dry, as if it gets a little too dark, with a dry brush and line it up and pick out some of those details also. Alright, we're going to leave that to dry before we do the last step. So this is probably going to be the longest part. Be right back. Okay, so to take your base up to the next level, Army Painter makes these types of different little grass tufts for different things. Army Painter, others make it, Woodland Scenics. You can get them from anywhere. Lots of different companies make them. You can make them yourself. I'm not that dedicated. I'll just go buy some. They're not that much, but they do add a lot to the base. So like, for example, it really just kind of takes your base to the next level. Just a little something extra to, you know, give it that finished look rather than just a, you know, a base. Okay, yeah, I mean, it looks cool. She's standing on rocks and in the desert or whatnot, but and these also can double as a way to fix any little imperfections. Like if you look closely, in between her legs here, we did not get. Well, I know I put the glue there twice, but the stuff's not sticking, so whatever. So we're going to use, you know, some little flowers here, since it's the boss lady. I like the flowers, and again, just a little super glue. Now, you can try it with a toothpick. I tend to use these scissors. Not really scissors, they're clamps, whatever you call them. Just to hold on to it and help you place it. Doesn't take a whole lot, just a little super glue there. And then position it in place where you want it to go. And then I'll use the toothpick to finish tucking it into place. I just want her to be stepping over those flowers. Actually got a little too far under where I wanted it, but what the hell. Now she's stepping over it. And I'm going to put this larger one over here on the side just so that it kind of helps match and doesn't look like I'm attempting to cover something up, even though I was attempting to cover something up. I'll put this one like right here. Did not get enough glue. Alright, so let's put that on right here. There we go. There. Now, makes the base a little more interesting, gives it a little more pop, and now we can call her finished. Now, if you got, you know, anything on the edge of your base, go back and touch it up. I mean, it's your model. you do with it what you want. But hey, there you go. I mean, we're at 27 minutes. Actual painting time for this model was 15, and then the base took the rest of the time, other than me, talking. But there you go. My boss is done. She looks pretty cool. Look great on the table from a 3-foot distance. And there you go. So hopefully these videos are helpful. Hopefully you're getting something from these videos. Hopefully they just, it makes sense. Again, they're designed for new painters, somebody who's trying to get something painted quickly. You're, new to Dead Man's Hands, and you don't really know what to do or how to paint it or whatever. Hopefully these have helped give you some ideas and you've gotten something out of it. So please like, subscribe, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you're enjoying Dead Man's Hand. It is a great game. It's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get the rest of my Outlaws and then my Lawmen painted so that I can get them on the table. Anyway, as always, please like, subscribe, drop me a comment, and as always, thank you for watching. Have a good evening. God bless. Bye now.